International negotiators will meet in Doha again today in an effort to hammer out a ceasefire deal as Israel continues to pound Hamas targets in Gaza.
Now, Palestinian authorities have said at least one person was killed after Israeli settlers attacked a village in the West Bank. The armed settlers reportedly attacked a village near the city of Kalkilia and fired at citizens. One Palestinian was killed and another was critically wounded, the Palestinian Health Ministry said.
Israeli President Isaac Herzog condemned the attack in West Bank. Israel, meanwhile, pressed its assault on Gaza. The Israeli Defense Forces claim to have struck over 30 Hamas targets. Gaza health officials said at least 6 Palestinians were killed on Thursday night in an Israeli airstrike on a house in Jabalia. Israeli troops earlier hit targets in the southern cities of Rafah and Khan Yunis.
Israeli Defense Forces troops continue to fight in Gaza, operating in Rafah, Khan Yunis, the central Gaza Strip, and are striking everywhere. So far, we have eliminated over 17,000 terrorists.
Israeli army has also released images showing what it says are strikes on Hezbollah targets in southern Lebanon. Hamas, who did not attend the talks in Doha, called Israel's continuing operations an obstacle to progress on a ceasefire.
In a statement issued after talks began in Doha, Hamas official Hossam Badran said that any Gaza ceasefire deal must involve the total withdrawal of Israeli forces from the embattled territory. After Thursday's negotiations in Doha, Qatari Prime Minister Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani spoke with Iranian leaders to update them about progress in the talks.
In another effort to diffuse tensions in West Asia, British and French foreign ministers will travel to Israel to call for an urgent ceasefire and a de-escalation in any wider conflict. WION's correspondent Jody Cohen spoke to a former advisor at the PMO in Israel, Ruthie Blum, about the U.S. president urging for ceasefire to de-escalate the region and the threats from Iran and Hezbollah.
So you mentioned the United States then. The Biden administration, President Biden himself has said that a ceasefire would be the best chance at a de-escalation in the region as Israel is facing a threat from Iran and Hezbollah. Do you see that having an impact on the talks at all?
No, first of all, ceasefire just means we cease and they fire, as we've seen repeatedly throughout the years. And what's more, nothing de-escalates. When Israel is weak, there is no de-escalation. On the contrary, any capitulation to a bloodthirsty terrorist organization only escalates the situation. It's just the opposite.
Ruthie Blum, thank you for speaking with WION.
Thank you so much for having me.
Do you agree with IDF Reserve spokesperson Doron Spilman, who's come out against the deal, saying that it's dangerous for Israel?
Absolutely agree with that. Yes, it is. Now, having said that, of course the entire country wants the hostages back. And therefore, if there were such a deal that guaranteed the return of all the hostages, I think many Israelis, even Doron Spilman, would question whether they'd say, you know what, for that it's worth it. But there is no such deal on the table, and all we are doing is endangering our soldiers and our civilians, because we've seen anybody who's released in such a deal, it's not that the hostages will be released, it's that bloodthirsty terrorists will be released.